Faux or real? Can you tell the difference? I'm Cindy Funes with Garden Revelry, and today I want to show you, I want to share with you everything I know about faux plant material. I often get asked, do we use it in our container plantings? How do we design with it? Do we use it all at once, or do we mix them in with live plantings? So today we're going to talk about that. So what is faux plant material? Basically, it's artificial plant material. Some people put it in the category of non-living plant material, but that you can also use natural elements from the garden, like branches, and that's kind of its own category. So for my definition, faux plant material is just artificial plant material. And here are some of my favorites, my very favorites I'm going to share with you. So the first one is these hellebores. I love these hellebores. We use them quite a bit in container plantings this time of year for our clients. And we use them in situations that are low light, or maybe the conditions don't promote a plant blooming. And so this gives us the ability to offer a kind of a pop of color and brightness to a planting. You can see the leaves, the blossoms are incredible. I mean, they look so real. You could put them up next to another hellebore and you wouldn't know the difference as far as the flowers. The leaves, on the other hand, are a little fake looking. So I actually clip those leaves off, and then I bend these stems in order to, so that you can actually enjoy them and see the flowers a little bit more. And the reason you can bend these stems is because this stem it encapsulates a wire. So super fun, easy to manipulate and use in your designs. And they come in different colors too. So we've got the violet, we've got the white. I like the white this time of year because it's very elegant, and again, is kind of a nice pop of brightness in a planting. So also, I'm going to say one more thing here before I put these away. From a design standpoint, I like to group them in groups of 3 or 5, odd numbers, because if you just stuck one of these in a container planting with some living material that has bold foliage, it would look a little crazy or a little silly. So, you know, by kind of taking these and either triangulating them in a container planting or grouping them together, it has much more of a real effect. So, oh, the other one, my other favorite that I want to share with you is this begonia, this faux begonia. And look at these leaves. Now, I wouldn't use this in a winter container design, but I would in the spring or summer in a courtyard that gets very little light and shade. I mean, look at that foliage. It's fantastic. And again, you can bend it. And begonias are trending right now, especially the Rex begonias that are more foliage focused, not your grandmother's, you know, the traditional, although those are pretty too, begonias. But anyways, this is another fantastic faux plant that we like to use and use quite frequently in our clients' containers. Okay, these two faux plants are some of my constants. So the black mondo, I mean, again, can you tell the difference? So real looking, so realistic. And these are great for container plantings, again, low light, or where plants have a hard time maybe in ultra cold temperatures surviving. And you can place this with other living plant material, bolder foliage, great textural contrast, and pop of kind of deep, rich color. And then this faux asparagus fern is something, again, that we use quite a bit in container plantings, not with other faux material, but with living plant material, but for added texture and brightness. So it looks identical to asparagus fern that would be blooming, or that would be leafing out in the spring, that we can't have here in the winter because it would die. So we put this in the container planting now, has a nice textural effect and bright pop of color that works great in container plantings this time of year. Okay, and I have to share my new favorite. So I teased you a little bit about this. This has upended the hellebore. These are my new favorite faux plants, the faux cyclamen. Aren't they fantastic? They look so real. The leaves look real, the blossoms look real, and they come in, I'm finding that they come in 4 colors. I got these from Vickerman's. And one thing I want to say, talking about procuring faux plant material, you want to make sure that it's UV rated. You don't want faux plant material that's only used for indoors, because as soon as the sunlight hits it, it's going to turn that turquoisey blue, like, I know that's a fake plant. That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking to incorporate, again, judiciously, faux plant material within our living plant material containers, or container plantings, so that you cannot tell the difference. We're pulling some tomfoolery. So you want to make sure they're UV rated. These are. So these come in white, a pale pink, which is really beautiful this time of year, or maybe in February for Valentine's Day. They also come in, I think 2 magentas. So this kind of violet magenta, and then a little more violet magenta. But these are great. And again, you can manipulate them, you know, so that you're pulling these apart, much like you would a real cyclamen, bending them because you've got this the stems encapsulated in this wire, so that you're really showing off the flowers. So these are my new favorites, just loving them. Okay, now let's move on. Berries and branches. So there's all sorts of faux berries out there, ranging from cotoneaster to holly. These are actually faux rose hips, but add a nice pop of color and kind of festivity for this time of year. And then branches. So you can go 2 routes with branches. There's, you know, you could go out and prune in your garden your contorted filbert or your red twig dogwood or curly willow, and those are lovely in containers this time of year. Or you could maybe go out and prune the less exciting branches and then paint them. These are painted in a color that echoes what's happening in your landscape or inside your home or the theme of the season. So that's another way. I mean, you could paint these gold, you could paint these purple, you could whatever. So a nice way to add branches to your container plantings this time of year. Or pods. You could paint pods and you know, have them be kind of a pop of color. Normally these would be neutral, but we painted them bright red for ta-da! Okay. And this time of year, if you want to zhuzh it up, which actually is super fun, you know, it's festive. You don't have to use something that's necessarily floral related. You could use just something that's sparkly and festive and a little bit wacky, like this. I mean, think how fun this would be with maybe a couple others in your front entry container plantings the night before New Year's Eve, and you have guests coming over. It's like, woo, so fun. Okay, so if you're a professional, well, actually, you don't need to be a professional. You could just be somebody that likes to remain really organized. But either way, but professional, definitely, you need a system for organizing. You can see there is, especially this time of year, we incorporate a lot of different faux plant material within our plantings for interest. And so we need to know what we have in inventory, and we need to know what they are. So a simple way that we do this is we have blue painter's paint and a black Sharpie, and we label them. And so, you know, that's something that I highly recommend, so that you know how much you have of each thing and you know what they are. So if somebody asks, just like if somebody says, well, what type of plant that is, you can name it. Thank you for joining me here today. I will be sharing more about faux plant material in my upcoming newsletter, which the link is below, so be sure to subscribe. And in the meantime, happy container gardening and happy holidays.